The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates and by Renewal by Anderson, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into The Sports Source, presented by Renewal by Anderson. We appreciate you being with us. Well, that wasn't the way most folks wanted it to go down, but you can't say it was a total surprise. Alabama 58, Tennessee 21. We will get into that game. We'll get into some of the things that Jeremy Pruitt said. Accurate probably, but did he say things he hasn't been saying so far this year? And if so, why? And could there be a backlash on that? We'll look at the last 5 games of the season. Tennessee has a great opportunity in front of it to make this season a success, and we'll talk about those next 5 games and where the wins are going to come from to get Tennessee bowling. Let's get right into this show. First segment, as I mentioned, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, where there is always a great deal on great windows and doors. Right now, get 15% off windows and patio doors plus installation if you buy before October 31st. You got a little more than a week here. Help your heating bills this winter, this fall. Get with Renewal by Anderson. And do me a favor. Get out to their showroom and see their product up close and personal for yourself. You see the address right there, 1828 Mid Park Road, Building G, right here in Knoxville. Renewal by Anderson, they've got all kinds of different types of windows and doors, and once you see them, you'll understand, oh, now I see why these are considered the best in the world. Renewal by Anderson. Want to welcome in wave 1 of our panel today. We have, as always, Bob Hodge right there. Looks a little sleepy. It could be that he has a new baby boy at the house.
That's
Will
right.
Overstreet, father of Titan.
That's right.
That's a cool name. So
Thank
congratulations on the birth of your 3rd son, correct?
You. Yes, sir.
All right, congratulations to you and your wife. And right there, Jimmy Himes is back with us, of course, and next to him, VFL Brian Randolph is back with us. Thanks to all of you guys for being here. Let's put up some numbers here, and let's get this out of the way. It was a very bitter pill. Number 1 Alabama comes into Neyland Stadium. They put up 58 points. That's their highest point total ever versus Tennessee. It's the most points ever at Neyland Stadium by a visitor as well. The sad thing is Tennessee got Jeremy Pruitt to coach and improve all that talent all offseason. Now we got a real coach to coach up all that talent we've got over there. And we've implanted the virus, Butch Jones down at Alabama. And the difference is 1 point. And I think that says more about Nick Saban than it does Jeremy Pruitt or Butch Jones. As long as Nick Saban's down there, Tennessee and everybody else are going to have a hard time making up ground, at least on a consistent basis, with that program. Gentlemen, Nigel Warrior said not enough guys came ready to play. For Alabama? Not enough guys came ready to play? Jeremy Pruitt made some comments, which we'll get into a little bit later, saying that the moment was too big for some of his players. And Balaam Buchanan, on the other hand, just said, well, we were outgunned. We made some mistakes, but we were outgunned. What did you see? Was Tennessee just outgunned, or do you think they lacked effort and heart?
I think Balaam Buchanan's right.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they got outgunned. Alabama's just a better team. And if you're going to question Tennessee's heart, then I'm going to question Missouri's heart, because Alabama whipped them, and they whipped Ole Miss. I guess Ole Miss doesn't have any heart either.
A&M.
A lot of teams, A&M. So if you want to go down the list, I just think Alabama's extraordinarily good. It may be the best team Nick Saban's ever had. Tennessee couldn't match up with him. Speed, size, strength, whatever you want to name. I just think Alabama's that good.
Well, John, I think they're both right. Balin, when you're playing Alabama, it's obvious you're going to be outmanned. They get the best recruits every year. So Balin's right in that regard, but Nigel Warrior's completely right. They didn't come ready to play. I think they came scared to play. Just to name Alabama, I feel like that overwhelmed half our team, and 28-0, that's not all Alabama, that's some of Tennessee too.
Okay.
And that's more surprising than anything, because if you don't come ready to play, obviously you don't want to go to the next level. I mean, that's what people used to come to Tennessee to be about, was to play in the NFL eventually. And if you can't get ready to play Alabama in college, you don't have a shot playing in the NFL or anywhere else. And I think that's the big problem. We don't have a lot of those guys that are going to play in the NFL, so I do agree they're both right. Mm-hmm. It's a mentality and an athletic ability, and you have several positions that you don't have the mentality to fight, and you don't have the guy that can actually go do it even if he's ready to go fight against an Alabama team. You just don't have the players. You can look at it and see it.
Yeah, I think it was mostly fact that Alabama is twice as good as you. Gary Danielson brought it up during the show. how many of these Tennessee guys would start at Alabama. Maybe come up with 2. Maybe you come up with 2.
Yeah.
And so I think then that probably goes to the heart question. I mean, you're getting whipped, you're getting whipped, you're getting whipped, you gave them everything you can, you're just not good enough, and eventually you do kind of sag, I think.
You know, here's the thing. If you didn't show up to play, you showed up to play Auburn last week. So does that mean you got a little cocky, a little overconfident? Is that why you weren't ready for this game? I'm trying to figure why you would be ready for Auburn and you wouldn't be ready for this one. And if that's the case, then maybe it's good you played Alabama this week, because if you came out there not ready to play against one of these teams that you have a chance with, well, that's a waste. Because, they might not have played with heart and they might have been a little scared. You're still getting beaten by Alabama.
That's
so
right.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. I mean, you were going to get beat if you had all the heart in the world and you were out there ready to play.
Yeah.
They're going to walk down your throat and they're going to score 50-something points on you, and you're not going to be able to score 50 points.
I think maybe 51-21.
And I think
I get what you're saying.
is look at Alabama's offensive linemen compared to Tennessee's offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama's offensive linemen look like they have tree trunks coming out of their shoulders. Tennessee's offensive linemen look like big high school players.
That's
and
right.
I'm trying not to be too tough on them, but it's just a different
Yeah,
physical.
That's
build of
okay.
a
That's a
kid.
good lead-in. Their coach was tough on them yesterday. This was something that was different. And earlier this season, twice on this show, I went out of my way to praise Jeremy Pruitt for doing what Bear Bryant used to do it, and I always liked it, and that is, if something goes right, hand it off to the players. If something goes wrong, I need to coach them up. That's on me. Something changed yesterday. Jeremy Pruitt was a little bit more honest about it. Let's take a look at some of the things he said. Got a little Jeremy spoke. You heard him. You heard him yesterday. All right, now he did start. He did say part of it was on him. He said, they lined up and whipped us between the whistles, and we made mistakes. That's my fault. I've got to do a better job of getting them to do it the right way. Okay, good enough. Then he said, we ain't got enough guys out there today that want to do it the right way. Next, I think we learned a lot about our football team today. There are some guys we had on our team that this game was way too big for them, and I think everyone was able to see that. Next, we're not going to slow them down until we get another recruiting cycle. I can tell you that. Next, according to CBS at halftime, he said, I will promise you I will recruit 25 other guys that will play the right way so we don't have to play in another game like this. Finally, he says, so I think we can sign 25 guys in here and basically trade 25 for 4, meaning the seniors who are playing. We've got some really good seniors that work hard, but we've really got 4 that are playing. It gives you a chance to bring in new guys is kind of the meaning. I could go on. He singled out some people. He singled out some positions. Yeah, he did. Here's my question, and I'm not saying that's not accurate, but it's different from what he said earlier. And just 2 weeks ago, he was teary-eyed. He was so happy at what he saw at Georgia.
In a 26-point loss.
So now you have a 38-point or 37-point loss, and he's letting the guys have it. And he's saying, well, we don't have enough talent here, among other things, or heart or effort, et cetera, et cetera. What changed?
Frustration. I think he was so frustrated with the outcome, so frustrated that Nick Saban was beating the dog out of him, and I just think I think he kind of lost a little bit with that. I think that was a part of it. He was mad about the mistakes that were made. Look, Alabama's good enough. You don't need to help them out by fumbling in on your own 3-yard line, by catching it and then signaling a fair catch on a kickoff return. There were mistakes that helped Alabama, and I think he just got really frustrated.
I agree with you, but he didn't do that against Florida. Florida, he had just as much of a meltdown, but it
they
wasn't
weren't coached by Saban.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Anybody else? I know what I think.
I've got my theory.
Yeah.
My theory is this was him going home. You're playing against Alabama, guys you coached against, guys you coached for, against players that you recruited.
Your alma mater.
Your alma mater. And you probably had people from Alabama maybe looking at Jeremy Pruitt's team for the first time. I think he probably knew that. I think this was more personal with him than Florida, because that's the same thing that
That's kind of what I'm saying with Saban.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it was even bigger than just Saban. You improved against Auburn. Now you're in the national spotlight, and all these people who haven't seen my team play that I know, that know who I am, and we look like that. And I think that was probably a part of it.
I think you wouldn't be human. You would not be a human being if you didn't want the other guys to miss you when you've left. And I think he stood on that sideline and felt like Butch Jones. I've been here, and there's no different than when I was on that side kicking Tennessee last year. Now I'm over here and they're kicking me. I think that's human. I would feel that. I think anyone would feel that. I think that has to do with it. I also wonder, did he feel that they turned a corner against Georgia and Auburn, and now you're reverting?
And
I don't know.
And that's what I think is part of this as well. I think he's maybe had guys, he saw how they played against Auburn and Georgia, and he saw them taking steps forward. I think when he watched this game, he not only saw you get beat by Alabama, but he saw some of those guys take steps backwards. And I think he's probably at that point of, I've taken it a couple of times for you. Now you've fallen down on it. And if you're not going to go the way where I take it and be the good guy for you in the press, then I'm going to start seeing what happens when I get on you. And does that change your attitude? But I think he's kind of at that point with a few guys on this team that he's like, I've done it the nice guy way. That's going to change, and if that gets a different result.
I'll let Brian wrap it up.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You mentioned that's his old school, a lot of pressure to come back and succeed. But beyond that, last week you showed that you could compete at a high level against a good team in Auburn, and just to come out here and just do the complete opposite against Alabama with so much riding on it, as that was his old school, yeah, you're going to see some disappointment. I don't blame him.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting. I don't think anything he said is inaccurate. But he does have 5 more games with these guys, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Is there a possibility that some people don't take that the right way? I know fans will love it, and they're going to be, I've already had somebody upset that, well, how can you even question these comments? Here's the thing. He says these same things in year 3. You fans are going to be saying he's making excuses. Mark it down. If he says these same words in year 3 or year 2, it will be he's making excuses. He's blaming the players. I know how it goes. I've been covering it for 16 years, so we're just ahead of the curve. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by Josh Ward, Chuck Cavaliers. We still got Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood to come in here. We're going to talk quarterback. Is there now a quarterback competition for the South Carolina game? And how much stock do you put in that beating? Or is it just Alabama? We'll discuss. Come on back.